Hi, I'm Isabella. My dad is obsessed with reality television, maybe even more so than I am.
She's not wrong.
This is Check Me Boomer, a father-daughter weekly dish on the latest in reality TV. Hello, Father.
Afternoon.
We're back. We are both home from our vacation, and we're ready to talk about reality television again.
Yes, and another housekeeping note. We are recording separately, her at her apartment, me at the house, so forgive any audio problems. This is the first time we've done it this way.
Yeah, fingers crossed it turns out well. So this was a busy week for me especially. As we previously mentioned, we were in Louisiana visiting some family. I was there all week. You left on Tuesday. But we still kept up with the reality television. I will say I had to have a pretty hefty Bravo marathon yesterday getting home. But I kept up with Love Island all week and even subjected the family to that, which created some interesting conversations. You can imagine, my grandmother, my 85-year-old grandmother. We love her to death.
I think we did get some new converts. At least my sister-in-law, I think, is now a Love Island fan. We'll see what happens now that we're both gone.
Yeah, she did mention to us, and if you're listening, shout out. You know who you are. We won't call you out by name, but she did say she's going to stop once we leave. But I also said, well, you got to watch the finale.
Exactly.
I mean, we have the finale tonight, so you got to tune into that. So we'll see. Maybe she will.
Well, we'll get to my view on the finale in a minute.
We certainly will. I guess on that note, should we go ahead? Oh, I did want to make one more note. By the way, for the permanent record, we both do have full-time jobs. Even though sometimes keeping up with all these shows might feel like a full-time job, we do have jobs. So just want to make that clear.
Yes, noted.
That we got other things going on too, but we make this a priority because it's fun for us.
Especially as a father-daughter team.
Yes.
Maybe just outline the shows that we're going
in?
to cover this week before we get into one.
Yeah, okay. So both Love Islands, US and UK. And then we have, I have a couple notes on Aftersun as well for USA. And then a bit of a lighter week on the Bravo sphere. We had Atlanta off, so we'll be covering Below Deck, In the City, The Valley, Next Gen NYC, and then anything else that you caught up with.
I will make a passing comment about McBee Dynasty, but it will be brief.
Okay, and I do want to also make a note that Big Brother started this week. I am not caught up. I'm not sure I'll be talking about it much, but if something crazy happens, just know that I am tuned in to that as well.
Great.
So I think on that note, because we've kind of already mentioned Love Island USA and the finale tonight, should we start there?
Sure. Before you go through the recap, I just want to say I am at my limit with USA. I don't know if you want to say I'm fully saturated. My appetite is over. I am not looking forward to the finale. To me, it's so analogous to Survivor when it's down to the final three. I don't care. I can fully see myself and your mother fast forwarding through a lot of it because if it's like past seasons, this is a mix of live and taped portions, and it's just always been incredibly boring to me. All the drama's gone. I don't really care who wins.
I get it. I think that is kind of a running theme with these shows is the last week gets a little bit boring, and I like to see who wins, but for the most part, the final week is pretty low drama, pretty
Lame.
Just everyone's being nice to each other. Yeah, lame, for lack of a better term. But we'll still recap it a little bit, and I definitely still have some opinions, especially on family night and some of these couples. So I think where we left off was they had the compatibility voting where they dumped two couples, which we'd previously talked about. So we're picking up kind of with the fallout from that. I think the big thing was Kenzie and Melanie kind of had it out for each other, but they made up very quickly. So I don't think there's really much there. I thought that was fine. And then we went into karaoke night, which I can just imagine when you found out that they were doing that, you were rolling your eyes massively.
It's like you can read my notes. That's the first bullet point I have is karaoke was horrible. Such a complete waste of time.
You know what? I just playing devil's advocate, I will give the credit for it finally not being a majorly raunchy challenge. It was just kind of a sweet challenge,
Fairs.
but yeah, nothing really came from that except we got a dumping right after that. Kenzie and Dylan won the karaoke challenge, so they ended up being safe from the dumping. I think most of us can agree that they likely would have been dumped if they weren't saved. Even Kenzie said in the dressing room later, asking the girls, would I have been dumped? And to crickets, I think they would have been dumped if they weren't saved. So Kenzie's splits quite literally saved her from dumping.
I had a thought about that. If they had not been saved, would all three couples have been up for elimination, causing each other couple to pick among three? Or would they have always narrowed it down to two so they could just pick A versus B?
That's a good question. I guess if the couple that won the challenge was not in the bottom anyway,
Exactly.
then I do think maybe they would have been picking between the three couples. And I do think that Kayda and Zach were never going to go home. It would have been close between Kenzie and Dylan and Corbin and Parmida, I think. So, of course, Corbin and Parmida ended up getting dumped. I was kind of bummed about it. They were growing on me a little bit, but it is what it is. It's the end. Everyone's got to go
See
home.
ya.
So, yeah. Then the other couple in the bottom was Kayda and Zach, which everyone, of course, stood behind them. They're pretty much OGs. They also became exclusive this episode, and I think they were both pretty torn up about being in the bottom. Kayda was wondering if America hates her. Zach is wondering if he's good enough for Kayda, which no, he's not. That's kind of the thing. I think I've talked about my issues with Zach before. He's just sketchy. I just don't trust that man, but they're not the worst couple on there, which we will absolutely get to.
I think they were just worried about what the country thinks of them and is there a chance that they're not going to win?
Yeah, which is valid. I think kind of realizing you're probably not going to win sucks. What sucks even more is thinking about maybe the entire country hates me.
Yes.
I do think that's probably a stressful thought. So I get it. I feel for them, but I still don't really like them that much. And talking about them becoming exclusive, we had a little bit of a tiff between Trinity and Kayda. Trinity told Kayda that she thinks that that's just a situationship. If you're not boyfriend, girlfriend, that's just a situationship, which I will say in the real world, she's absolutely right. Love Island world is a bit different, though. I kind of see where Kayda and Zach are coming from and that they don't want to make it really official until they see how it goes on the outside. So I love Trinity to death. I think I'm on Kayda's side for this one.
It just is semantics. It's all BS because none of it's real. Closed off, exclusive, situationship. Those are just words, right? And again, generational. There was nothing called a situationship back when it was relevant to me.
I guess, yeah, a situationship implies that part of the couple is not that into it. And I don't really think that's the case here with Kayda and Zach. As much as I don't like Zach, they clearly are into each other. So I didn't think that was fair, but still love Trinity, so whatever.
They buried it pretty quickly.
They did. They made up pretty quickly. We also saw Dylan crying a bunch over, I guess, a lot. Over, I guess, he was clearly upset that he was in the bottom too. He, I think, is now realizing that maybe the public has seen through Kenzie and the way she's moved, but I don't really think it's fair for him to be upset about that now. he watched all the episodes before Casa Amor, so he saw her do that to Caleb and Corbin between the two of them. So it did make me question how genuine he is. But that's debatable, you know.
On the crying thing, I have nothing against grown men crying, but let's try to keep it to something relatively important and understandable. Maybe one of those situations where he's crying, okay, pass. But multiple times about someone he's known a few days and he's on TV. I mean, wake up, right? Like, go to the if you have to go to the bathroom, right? Like, run away. Don't. What I have to imagine he's going to catch some flack from that from his buddies.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. He did talk about on Aftersun, which I'll mention. I'll talk a little bit more about later. That he's a very emotional guy, which
obviously
he could. Well, yeah. He's saying that he's always been that way, which of course he's gonna say. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if they work. I have a little bit more to say about them when we talk about Family Day, but that's they. And then we'll talk about who made it to the finale, because spoiler alert, they did not.
So I wonder how much he cried at like Old Yeller or Joy Luck Club or movies where there's something really sad. I mean, is he having to run out of the theater? It's just.
Well, this is where I'm going to embarrass myself and say I don't know what movies those are, and they're probably classics, and I'm just bad with movies, so that's on me.
No, they're old.
Okay, well, maybe I'll watch them one day. Should we get into Melanie and Sincere? There's a lot to say about this one couple specifically. Yes,
but my overarching comment is I think Sincere and Kenzie are perfect for each other, and I know I'm not alone on that. I even saw a meme online where their faces were melded together and that they're the same person.
You're right. They moved very similarly. The one thing I'll give Kenzie credit for is I think she did a better job at taking accountability, whereas Sincere, not that he hasn't taken accountability, but maybe I'm just not buying it as much from him. I've noticed sometimes when he's talking to Melanie, he's not even looking in her eyes. And he just keeps saying the same thing over and over again. I wonder at a certain point, does he just feel like he has to say these things to get her back? So, but yes, I agree. I think Kenzie and Sincere are very similar in the way that they moved.
Agreed.
And we also at the beginning of the week, we saw Melanie and Sincere get voted into the hideaway, and that genuinely pissed me off.
I knew you were going to be angry because we were watching it separately, and I said, oh my gosh, I'm so annoyed. 2 minutes in, I think I sent you that message without telling you why. And then your mother told me later that you were watching it and you were so angry, and I knew exactly why.
Yeah, I think I followed up with texting you back, I'm pissed.
Yes.
Just with no context. Yeah, biggest eye roll of the season for me. But let me give Sincere the tiniest amount of credit here that he didn't run over to his boys and say every single thing that happened. I give him a crumb of credit for that.
That's fair. Did you catch earlier I said fairs?
Fairs, yeah, like the British. I did not catch that, but I like that. Okay, let's see. We saw Casey and TT become boyfriend and girlfriend. You texted me that you're something about them. I thought it was cute. I thought the whole scavenger hunt was cute, but maybe I'm just like a romantic, I guess. I don't know. Did you think it was stupid?
I just thought it was a little bit inconsistent. If you defend the one couple for going to what was it, exclusive or closed off, that Trinity called a situationship. Oh, Kayda and Zach. If you defend that, then I think it's ridiculous for someone to go all the way to becoming boyfriend and girlfriend. They've known each other for a shorter amount of time. To me, it seemed 100% gameplay. Like, holy shit. If we have a chance of winning this, we've got to up our game and let's just become boyfriend and girlfriend.
That's a fair point. And I guess I do disagree, but I also wouldn't be shocked if that was the case. I think I'm rooting for them. I do think they do have like they seem very compatible. They seem like they'd be good together, but you never know. So we'll just have to see what happens with them.
When you say rooting for, you mean like overall in life, because
I guess. I mean, I just think that they do work
but they're
together.
gone.
At least from what we would. I okay. So yes, I'm rooting for them as a couple in
Yeah.
life. I'm rooting for them to make it as a relationship. That's obviously, spoiler alert, they were dumped. So I guess now that we're talking about that, we can mention that, and we'll go back to Family Day and discuss that a little bit. But we did see Casey and TT and Kenzie and Dylan get dumped. So the finale consists of Bryce and Trinity, Melanie and Sincere, eye roll, Carl and Aniya, and Kayda and Zach. So we'll see how that goes. I personally voted for Bryce and Trinity. I think Melanie and Sincere should absolutely not win, but I'll have some predictions on that later. I do want to talk about Family Day a little bit, Melanie and Sincere especially. Sincere's dad and Melanie's family, they all came in ready to go, like ready to. Sincere's dad was ready to roast his son, and I love that from him. He totally deserved it. Sincere did take it on the chin. I'll give it to him. Like, he didn't go cry and like get all pissed. The big thing to me was Melanie's sister and her mom telling her mom, I think her mom only speaks Spanish, so she's saying in Spanish, your heart is sacred. There are so many people waiting for their first chance with you, and you are still on this guy giving him a third chance. Her sister said he is playing you, Melanie. Like, they're pretty much begging her to leave this man. And she's crying. It was genuinely a hard watch for me. All things she needed to hear, but it was still a hard watch. Just for her to go and later say, you know what, I think I'm still going to give him a chance on the outside world.
Not only that, she said, I'm going to just not pay attention to any of the voices or something along those lines. But thinking back of the scene where she was crying and her mother and sister were talking to her, the more I think about it, she probably, if there was a thought bubble over her head, it was, I miss Sincere. I wish they would stop talking so I could get back to seeing him. Right? She wasn't even paying any attention. She's like, wah, 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 wah.
I don't know. I think she's listening to them, but she's not wanting to take their advice, clearly. She's gonna ride it out. She clearly has strong feelings for Sincere, and no matter whatever her family says is not going to change her mind. So she's young. I'll give her grace. It's her prerogative. But yeah, it's not going to work out. It's going to be worse in the outside world. I think it's a lot easier to mess around in the outside world when you're not being filmed. So I don't think it's going to go well. But she clearly is set on that.
Yep.
Then just a couple more things about Family Day before I'll give my finale predictions. I love Bryce's grandma. Love her. She's hilarious. I loved Aniya's mom telling Aniya that you need to be a better friend to Melanie. Like, stop telling her to get back with this man. So Aniya went and told Melanie that and said, my mom told me that he's toxic and I should not be encouraging you to be back with him, so I apologize. I like that happened. And then my last thing
But
is
Melanie didn't receive it
Kenzie,
very well. She
didn't.
Right,
Of course she
right.
didn't. But I liked it from
Yep.
Aniya. Because I was not liking how that went with Aniya. And so I'm glad her mom called her out on that. And then I know we talked about Kenzie and Dylan and how I don't know how good they are, but they gained some points when Dylan's mom was like, I love Kenzie. I think she's been true to herself. Like, give her a chance. Don't get on her for that. And then Kenzie pulled his mom aside before they left. They gained some points in my book.
I thought that was nice, or at least it appeared to be nice. Who knows whether it was
she
sincere.
could be doing it just to look good,
Right.
but regardless, it was a nice gesture. So tonight, Sunday, you got something else to say? Go ahead.
As you give your predictions, I have a question for you at the end of your predictions.
Okay. So we have the finale tonight, and I do want to hear your predictions as well, but I'm kind of basing this off of what I have seen on social media and I could be totally wrong. And this also is not a prediction of what I want to happen. It's what I think will happen. I think Bryce and Trinity are going to win. I think they have this thing locked up, and I think they have for a while. I think Melanie and Sincere are going to come in second place, and I hate that, but there are weirdly a lot of Melanie and Sincere supporters. I don't get it, but I'm not going to be surprised if that happens. I see Carl and Aniya in third place, and I see Kayda and Zach in fourth place.
Okay.
Thoughts?
My predictions, I don't care at all. And
Okay.
other than who you think is going to win, Trinity and Bryce, I agree with you. I have given zero thought to it. The only thought I gave to it was listening to you right there. And I agree with your first choice. My question to you is, which of the four, in what order are they going to break up? Who's the first to break up in real life after they get out?
Okay. Out of the four.
Yes.
This is purely my opinion.
Of course.
And I'm really not basing it off of anything but vibes. I think Carl and Aniya are going to break up first. And then I am really, really, really rooting for Bryce and Trinity. Well, next I'm going to put Melanie and Sincere because he's going to cheat on her.
That doesn't mean they're going to break up, though.
That doesn't mean they're going to break up. That's why I hesitate to say that. But I am going to put them second just because he's already broken her heart multiple times. Like, please, girl, just leave him. I kind of feel like I see Kayda and Zach staying together the longest. As much as I don't want that to happen, I think she deserves better. I'm going to go Bryce and Trinity third and then Kayda and Zach. I want Bryce and Trinity to work. I know they've talked about how long distance is hard, but I'm rooting for them. I could see Kayda just following Zach wherever he goes, unfortunately. So that's why I'm putting them last.
Okay. I didn't have any
the
particular
latest to break
order
up.
other than I don't disagree with the order you picked. I do think that the long distance may pose more of a problem than you or they are anticipating.
Yeah. Also, I'm pretty sure Zach lives in LA now.
Okay.
We know he's British, but I don't think he lives there anymore. I know his older brother, who was on last season, does live in LA now. So I don't think that that's going to be as much of an issue as many might think it will be.
Okay.
I didn't mention the thing I wanted to mention about Aftersun, so I'll be quick. I'll be brief. One, Ciara mentioned she was remote, and she mentioned she's filming Summer House. So Ciara's back on next season of Summer House. That's great. Parmida was making weird comments to Corbin about, oh, I'm famous in my city, and I date rappers and athletes, so you better, be careful, not play me. TT was asked if she's going to be friends with everybody, and she said no, which I thought was weird, but okay. Kenzie made a comment that she was asked about the split, and she's like, every morning I wake up, I read my Bible, and then I stretch my hip flexors with a split. It's just so Kenzie. And then they all voted on who they want to win, which I thought was very interesting because Casey and TT voted for Sincere and Melanie. Parmida and Kenzie voted for Kayda and Zach. The only one voting for Bryce and Trinity was Corbin. And then Dylan voted for Carl and Aniya. So I thought that those were interesting votes. Thought it would be more Bryce and Trinity, but I guess not. So that's all I got on Aftersun, but it was a fun episode to watch.
Oh.
So that's all I have for USA.
I'm done.
Okay, you're done. We will briefly discuss the finale on next week's episode, but yeah, it's just the finale. We know it's dates and who wins. So yeah. There was a lot going on Love Island UK this week.
In stark contrast to USA, I am not at my limits in UK by any stretch of the imagination. It continues to outperform USA. I don't know because it's going on longer, because the people are better looking, because they're continuing with the drama, or I like the people better. I don't know what it is, but it's going to take a lot longer. Maybe that's just because the season is a lot longer to go before I get sick of it.
I completely agree. Not that I don't love Love Island USA, but for most of the season, Love Island UK has been superior, and I think it's going to continue that way. We've got a few weeks left for UK, so we're not over yet. As we saw, we had 2 new bombshells come in this week. We picked up this week post-Casa Amor. There was a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not backlash, but there was a lot of
smoke, a lot of
consternation.
Yeah,
there was
conflict.
a lot of this. Yeah, there was still a lot of conflict from Casa Amor. The smoke hasn't cleared yet, I guess you could say. So this week kind of started seeing we saw a big girls chat with all the Casa girls. Lorenzo made a comment, Power Rangers Unite, that I thought was funny. But we kind of saw all the girls make up. So we saw conversations with Jasmine and Charlene, with Angie and Mara, Mika and Martha. They all made up. Now, who did not make up is Julia and Lola. They went at it. I guess Lola's issue is that Julia
It's Yulia.
got to know. Yulia, sorry, I apologize. It's Yulia. You're completely right. They call her Julia sometimes too, but yes, you're right. It's Yulia. So Yulia, I guess, kind of got to know Sean, Fitzy, whatever you want to call him, in Casa Amor, and Lola didn't like that, but that's her job. We didn't even see her talking to him at Casa Amor, so it couldn't have been that big of a deal. She obviously came back with Lorenzo. I think Lola was pretty defensive and kind of nasty in that chat, and it gets worse throughout the course of the week. But I think we're seeing that Kevin still wants Jasmine, and Simba definitely still wants Angie. I mean, he pretty much dropped Mara right away, which...
Pretty much, but sort of not. It seemed like he was still on the fence until he got called out.
Well, I think Mara kind of realized. She pulled him aside and said, you haven't said one word to me since you brought me back. You have kind of ignored me. There were some great, great quotes in this conversation between Mara and Simba. She might be my favorite, one of my favorite Islanders to enter the villa this season. Just a few of them. There were a lot. She said, you've irritated my entire existence. You're a joke, babe. When he went and slept outside, she jumped in and said, you deserve nothing less. She just was keeping her foot on his neck the entire time she was there, which I absolutely loved. She's hilarious.
Yes, she and Angie both have some really good responses, but it's not hard, I think, because he's so dumb. He just speaks a bunch of words, and it's not like he's paying any attention to what he's saying. And each one of them will call him out and say, are you mad? Do you even hear what you're saying? Like, that doesn't even make no damn sense. And it's just like, wow, yeah, that's what people in the audience have been thinking, and they're calling him out on it.
Yeah, he's just so irritating.
And maybe it's not just that he's dumb. They're just very intelligent and very capable of and quick in their responses.
Maybe. Yeah. I also sometimes I'm not sure that he's even hearing what they're trying to say to him. He's just trying to get his point across and not listening.
I don't see how he can listen because he's constantly interrupting, just like I did to you right there. But nonstop, at a minimum, he's like, like saying like that. If you watch this show with subtitles, it's even more frustrating because they're having to show the subtitles of both of them talking at the same time.
Yeah, and he also gets so easily pissed off. Like, it doesn't take much to make him angry and make him like get up and storm off. We've seen that kind of all season. So he's grafting hard, though. He really wants Angie. I know I used the word grafting. That's another British term, but he really is. So then we go into movie night.
Yes.
And I have a lot of things to say about movie night. We saw a lot of good clips. We saw Jasmine and Lorenzo, their little flirt relationship got exposed. Kevin had a lot to say about that. So did Yasmin. But I kind of think that's over at this point from what we saw from Jasmine, especially this week. Simba was annoying me. He was telling, to his clip, he was saying, like, oh, it takes two to tango.
So
talking
dumb.
about Mara.
So dumb. And they both jumped on him immediately.
As they should, because Mara is a Casa Amor girl. That is her job. Simba was the only one that had loyalties to someone. I mean, what an idiot.
So dumb.
So stupid.
Yeah.
What's also annoying me is Kevin acting like getting Priya to bring back Jordan is equivalent to what he did. I understand it doesn't look good on Jasmine, but it's not the same at all.
Okay, I don't think he's saying it's the same, but there's at least a point to be made. And okay, she's pointing out he kissed somebody, right? Okay, but that happens at Casa Amor. It's not like they said no kissing allowed. They weren't closed off. But then for her to be so duplicitous or scheming that she wants to effectively bring somebody back without bringing someone back, it does seem really slimy. And so I think he's right to call it out. She should have at least acknowledged it more so than she did, but they treat it like he killed someone and she just, got caught for speeding.
That's fair.
Might be a stretch of my analogy, but
I mean, I love Jasmine. I'm usually going to defend her. Do I think she was scheming? Yes, she was scheming. I think that really the victim of that situation is Priya.
Yes.
And I think Priya is the victim in a lot of situations, and I really feel for her. The whole Samraj Mika thing got exposed with Samraj saying he has the ick and just all these things. They made up pretty quickly. Mika and Samraj apologized to Priya, but and then Jordan was also exposed for telling Jasmine that he wasn't attracted to Priya.
Yes.
That's another thing I didn't love from Jasmine.
My biggest comment about movie night was what was missing. I was certain that there was going to be something about Finn at Casa that was going to tick off Ellie, but unless they didn't show it, and I'm pretty sure there must not have been one because I think we would have heard about it, but he got away scot-free on that one.
He did, but I also expected to see a clip from him. I guess maybe they figured it wasn't as important because what he told Ellie is kind of exactly what happened with the kiss on the cheek and then she kind of moved over and went in and he said, no, that's not what we're doing. That is pretty much what happened.
But there were more flirty chats than he probably described.
Yeah, and maybe if we would have seen that, then his actions later in the week wouldn't have been so surprising.
You mean today?
But today,
yes.
Yeah. But we'll get into that as well. Wrapping up movie night, we also saw Sean and the challenge, the whole thing. Lola was like, I don't care at all. We're good. And she said that to the girls in the dressing room too. There was a moment that we saw where she did bring it up to Sean and said, that did kind of suck to see. I wish you didn't do that, but whatever. She moved on very quickly, which is fine.
I don't think that she did move on. I think that part of why she's being so nasty is because it did still bother her. Now she's focusing all of that nastiness on Yulia, but I still think it's part of why she's just in a generally bad mood now.
Yeah, so let's get into Lola and Yulia then. There's a lot of dogpiling on Yulia.
Why?
We saw that in the little game they played.
On the show. Okay. I thought you meant
on the show.
Okay, sure.
Everything I've seen publicly, which I don't see a lot with UK because I try to avoid spoilers since we're a few days behind, but everything I've seen on social media is dogging on Lola and loving Yulia. So that's good to see because I completely agree with that. I think Lola is just nasty and petty. I thought it was so bizarre when she was telling Sean, no, you can't talk to him. We're not going to talk to her. I'll be so mad if you talk to her. All he wanted to do was make peace.
Right.
I've never seen that before on this show. Usually they're all very willing to make peace, or even if they're not going to be friends, just make it so that they're cordial. Specifically, the girls and the guys, they usually make up even if they're not going to be best friends. Lola was like, "No, I don't want to be friends and I don't even want to be cordial with her." It's just petty and it's weird and yeah, she's coming off very badly. We did get a public vote. I'm hoping that they're going to get dumped cuz I'm just over them. I'm over them.
It's not just her though, because her OG girlfriends are supporting her and acting like, oh yeah, I would be very mad if someone came after my man, even though that's what happens with bombshells. That's what happens with women on Casa
Especially in
Amor.
Casa More.
Yes, like
Yeah.
because someone is, were they closed off at that point? Were they boyfriend? I don't know what the terminology was
They
at that
were
point,
closed off.
but that doesn't mean that they're off limits. And Lola should have at least acknowledged that. And even if she didn't, some of the others should have given a little more grace to Yulia, who, by the way, is my second favorite person on the show. The first, as listeners know, is still Ellie. But Yulia, it just like makes me laugh too. She is smart as a whip. She might be the smartest person on there. And just dry sense of humor. She does get a little bit emotional, but then she acknowledges it. And she might be one of the best looking ones on there, which is a huge challenge on this show because the women are so universally beautiful. It's very difficult to pick one versus the others, but she's up there. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, I like her too. She came in hot. I didn't love how she acted at the very beginning when she came in, but like I think she was kind of, how do I put it? She wasn't being nasty at all, but she was making little digging jokes at Lola, which maybe set Lola off, but I'm still team Yulia through and through. I think she is completely in the right here.
I have one other
Oh,
comment. Oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
The two brothers, Aiden and Kevin, I think we refer to them as the hair transplant bros. Now they're just messy bros. It's like they're competing with each other to be the messiest, inconsistent, telling two things to two different people. It's like I don't know where it's going to stop. Is it genetic? Is it something about the town they grew up in, or both? But wow, they if I didn't know they were brothers, I would figure it out from their actions.
Yeah, especially Aiden, I think, is. I mean, he's telling Kevin, even though Kevin clearly still wants Jasmine, Aiden's like, well, don't cut it off with Charlene. I mean, you still kind of want to have her. You liked her in Casa.
Right.
I think he needs to mind his business a lot more. Kevin, what gets me with Kevin is he's 21 years old. I think he's just very immature and he doesn't really know what he wants. I mean, I think now we see he wants Jasmine, but it took him a minute to figure that out, and he got. I don't know. I think he is listening to Aiden a little too much, but I am hoping that now that Jasmine and Kevin have made up after lots and lots of crying from Jasmine, which made me sad to see because she is my favorite, so that was hard to see. They did make up, and they seem to be fine now. They pretty much told each other they're in love with each other. Not blatantly, but they kind of did.
Somewhat surprising.
I guess. More surprising from her end,
Yes.
because I feel like she is just so beyond out of his league. But I guess you like what you like,
Right.
and whatever. So I do want to talk about Lorenzo a little bit, just because we talked about Yulia. Yulia is with Lorenzo. I don't think he's into her very much. I think they were really cute in Casa Amor. Like I thought that they were very much similar, but he's got this weird thing where he refuses to make a girl a coffee, and I don't like that at all from him. But he also makes up for it in other ways, like how he was kind of one of the only guys that was defending the girls during movie night. He was pulling Jasmine aside, just telling her, I'm here for you. Like, I don't want to see you cry. It makes me really sad. He even teared up at one point. I love Lorenzo. He's a weird guy. He is a weird guy. I don't think I would want to date him, but I think he's my favorite out of the guys on the show still.
Even after the bombshells?
You mean the two brand new bombshells?
Yes.
What did I miss something that he did
Well,
negatively?
I think we're at the point in the week where we can talk about the two new bombshells. First of all, more bombshells, always good. Alicia and Ethan, and I'm only talking about Alicia, and how Lorenzo was like right off the bat, like, are we going to kiss? Do you want to? And several times in the very short quote date, he referenced or mentioned kissing, and I thought, dude, you're on television. Come on, just like lay off of it. Maybe one time you could get away with it, but not two or three. And then, by the way, Alicia is amazingly good looking, but your mother kind of ruined it for me because she said, check out her eyebrows. And I don't know if you noticed, they look like caterpillars. I mean, they're pretty bushy. And I tend not to look there for whatever reason in the face. And now I said, now you've kind of ruined it for me. But
I noticed that immediately too. And I don't even want to, I don't like to get on anyone's looks. But yeah, the eyebrows are a little bit crazy. She's a pretty girl. She's a beautiful
amazing,
girl. But
amazing. I'm not saying that it ruins it. Maybe I did just say that, but she's amazing. But now I just can't stop looking at them.
Yeah, back to the Lorenzo thing. I see what you mean. He's messy, but I think that goes back to I don't think he likes Yulia, which is wrong that he's not just being straight up with her. But I think he's still looking for his person. And I think he's going to need to make that clear with Yulia sooner rather than later. So after movie night, we saw a lot of makeups. We saw Jazz and Kevin getting back together. And we saw, I think I mentioned, Priya, Mika, Samraj. They all made up. Simba made up with Mara as well. Mara told him, I think you're in love with this woman, and he said, you might have a point there. Simba decides to go give this public speech to Angie in front of everybody, which I kind of thought was really sweet. I still don't like him, but I thought it was sweet. But Angie's reaction was kind of hilarious. She just was straight-faced the whole time. And then when he pulled her aside afterwards, he asked for a hug, and she was like, I guess you can get a side hug.
Right.
So I think Angie's going to go back to him. I think they're going to end up being together. But I kind of like that she's really making him work for it, even after the whole speech. I think he thought that after that speech, he'd have her back like that. Okay. But no, she's still making him work.
Question. So I agree that they're already back together. She's just continuing to give him a little bit of a cold shoulder. Since UK is going to go on for longer, I'm not sure how many more weeks there are. Do you think that they're going to last the season? And when I mean last, I mean assuming they're not voted out. Do you think that they're going to stay together, or is he still at risk of doing something stupid again?
I think that Simba at this point knows that he messed up. I'm not saying he'll never do it again, but I think he's not going to do it again on TV.
Fair.
I think they're going to probably last for the rest of the show, if, like you said, if they don't get voted off. I don't think Angie's going to be going for anybody else either. I think she's kind of Simba or nothing. She's even said that. She's threatened to go home. So, yeah, I see them being back and staying for as long as they're in the villa. And then I believe the last thing I wanted to talk about was Priya and Aiden and Martha and Jordan, this weird love square that's going on, which kind of came from Priya not really being into Jordan for obvious reasons. He's not into her. And then Aiden not really being into Martha. They recoupled together, Priya and Aiden, but Aiden still wants to get to know Martha. She eventually shut that down. So now it really is Martha and Jordan and Priya and Aiden. We'll see what happens there.
Right.
As of now. Yeah, I can't say I saw Priya and Aiden ever getting together, but their little conversation where they're saying they're comfortable and they're just laughing, I guess I could see it. I just don't see it lasting.
Well, especially because
I think Aiden...
He's already after the bombshell, Alicia.
Exactly. I was just going to say...
I thought they were going to kiss. They were leaning in so close.
Well, my God, Aiden's always doing that. Aiden's always trying to get a kiss. So
Well, she
he's
was
like
down for
Corbin. He's like Aiden and Corbin are very similar.
Yes.
So we saw the couples come in, like you mentioned. I am worried about Ellie. I am really worried about Ellie. I've been saying for I think a couple weeks, Ellie and Finley are my winners. I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm not even saying Finley's going to jump ship, but just the way that he's got this interest and Ellie's like, I would have never been interested in someone. It's not looking good right now. And I think Ellie's going to be activated next episode.
I'm going to make a prediction, and maybe I need odds on this, but based on the preview for the episode that we will see tomorrow, I think Ellie goes home on her own. She just bails with maybe some fiery, multiple syllable, single syllable words on her way out. But she's done. She's going to walk from that guy.
God, I hope not. But
I hope
also
not, too.
Don't want her. I don't want her to embarrass herself either. Like if it's either going to be sitting there and watching him crack on with the new girl or leaving, then I would rather her leave.
I think she's at the furthest end of the spectrum of self-respect. Melanie being at one end and Ellie being at the other. Ellie would be the first one to say, I'm out. I will leave the show. I don't care. At least that's my belief. Hopefully she would stick to that.
Yeah, I get that from her too. We'll see. I mean, they're all young, so we will see.
Okay. Should we do a speed round for the rest? I can start with.
I think so. Yeah,
I can start with
I don't have
McBee
a ton.
Dynasty.
Go for it.
Boy, it's lame. Lame AF is what I have in my
No.
notes, and I will still watch every episode. But for those who listen to a man of my generation listening to or watching reality TV and questioning, I do have a basic level of dignity, and I think that this might have me at my limits. Like I just don't know if I can continue this show. Every time I watch it, I think, oh my gosh, this is sad. But that's the only thing I have.
Dang. Well, you're not. That doesn't really make me want to tune in, but
Well,
maybe I
that's
still
just
will
how
eventually.
messy it is. It's that I don't know. Not that there's a whole lot of redeeming highbrow stuff from any of these shows, but you'll have to see to judge for yourself. But that's it. Moving on.
Cool. I have something to say about Below Deck Med.
Okay.
Great episode. I'm not going to go into detail on what happened for obvious reasons if you watch the episode, but I do think that what was really, really funny about the episode is they have this charter group that really is obsessed with Game of Thrones, and they're going down showing where Cersei did the walk of shame, I guess, where they're all yelling shame, shame. And the way that production put Luke like kind of in that scene in the background, and so that it was looking like they're chanting shame, shame at him, was very, very fitting. Very
It was
fitting.
good. It was beyond normal production levels in at least that show.
Yeah. So without giving details, Jen and Luke have gotten together. Nathan's bed has been
Messed up.
soiled, for lack of better terms, and he hasn't cleaned it. We are going to see that play out on the next episode. Nathan is going to find out. We saw that he finds out, so I am excited to see that. But kind of gross all around episode, but still good. So
Yes, we'll leave it there.
I think we're going to see Jen get a little bit crazy because Luke is still clearly interested in Joy. I think neither of them should be interested in him. He's disgusting to me, but yeah, we'll leave it there.
What do you want to do next?
Okay. In the city, this show is not good. This show is not good. I had like 2 notes on it that Kyle ripped his butt open and told everybody on national television. Okay.
Yeah,
Like
that
no one
could have been
no one
edited.
asked.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I do love a good argument over bedrooms. It's just classic housewife stuff. It's petty and stupid and low stakes, but it's usually entertaining. And then Kyle freaking out on Andrea for saying he should have different standards being a married man was crazy too. I think that was, whoa, you're getting way defensive here, Kyle. He didn't say anything bad.
I only had one note for the show. I thought it was incredibly ironic that Amanda was complaining about Kyle booking multiple DJ gigs without talking to him about it. They're separated, and I'm pretty sure at this time that they were recording
They were
these
not
shows.
separated at this point. They were not legally, like, they were still trying to work it out at this
Sorry,
point. Sorry.
separated. I overstated. They were living separately, and she had rented an apartment that has a year lease. And I think at this time, there's probably a good chance that she was also, I almost said something else, dating West. So the irony seems a little bit thick for me. But that's the only thing I had about that show.
Yeah, I think that could be said for kind of the whole season of In the City
yes.
is the irony from Amanda is very thick.
Yep. How about the Valley?
The Valley, I think the Valley and the In the City are kind of one and the same. They're kind of spin-off shows that aren't great, but they're kind of trying to keep these people in the loop. I still can't stand Danny. And I think we might feel a little bit differently about this, but I am for sure team like Janet, team Lala. I thought Danny's whole go talk to your husband to Lala is so dumb. So dumb.
Yeah, that was a little
And
bit
like he's saying that
low.
to the wrong person.
Yep.
Like she does not care that she's not married. So I don't know. And also him crying over his birthday. Like, you're a grown man. Stop crying over your birthday.
He's not really a grown man. He's a Peter Pocket, which I thought was one of the best lines. I don't know what a Peter Pocket is. Your mother speculated it might be the brother of Polly Pocket. I don't know if this is like something that's a generational thing, but if it's like a Ken doll versus a Barbie doll. But the Lala is one of the best looking women on reality television by far. I love the sharp tongue that she will not back down, especially to a Peter Pocket. And then I am normally not on the Janet side of things. Side might be too strong. But I will tell you that in this week's episode where she talked about her prior trauma, I felt more empathy towards her, and not only empathy because what she described as having happened in very broad terms. She didn't go into too much detail, but then she said, maybe I brought my own perspective to that when I got a hold of it. So it almost sounded like she was apologizing or maybe having thought through that her use of the word sexual assault might not have been appropriate in that situation. And then Lala was also, she kind of gave her a little bit of a hard truth, like, hey, maybe you didn't go about it in the right way. That made me think more positively about Janet than I had in the past. And then my only other note was, it's crystal clear that Aniya thinks that her husband has a problem. I mean, she's having to step in front of him, tell him to leave. I'm not saying that's never happened to me, but this is on camera, right? And it's consistent. So I can see why at the end of the episode, she was at the end of her rope, not just with him, but she might have her own postpartum thing going on. And so it's just a lot.
I think regarding Nia and Danny, you can kind of see the internal struggle with her, that she wants to defend her husband to all these people, but seems to be embarrassed by him at the same time. So I can see the struggle. I feel for her a little bit, but not really. I mean, you made your bed. Either leave him or deal with it. I don't know. Back to what you said about Janet. That was a big thing for her to talk about. We're not going to go deep into it. We're going to keep it light on this podcast. But yeah, major respect for her for telling her story. She's still not my favorite. Like, I get why people are annoyed by her, but all I'm saying is she grew on me a little bit this season. Like, I don't hate her,
right,
like I did last season,
right.
You know? So there were a couple other things. Michelle, I thought, did a really, really nice job of articulating her emotions to Lacey, and Lacey really accepted it well
Yes.
and kind of brought it back to Jesse and said, like, listen, she kind of opened up to me, and Jesse's all pissed. But I really appreciated that from Lacey. I thought it was nice. Very girl's girl of her. So, and then the Kristen Luke thing. Jesse going and telling Kristen that Luke said that comment of, oh, I wouldn't want to get married if it stays like this. Messy Jesse.
Yes.
Messy Jesse. So, and then I guess Kristen and Luke did kind of talk about it, and Luke kind of doubled down. So we'll see how that goes between them. I think it's going to get better. Obviously, Kristen is dealing with a lot postpartum, which is completely understandable. I hope they'll figure it out. I don't know. We'll see.
His hair has changed dramatically in his confessionals. It's like
He's got like a tail. It's like a
mullet
tail.
and like bushy. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe it's
Yeah,
some sort of
yeah,
LA thing.
I agree.
Yeah.
I've for sure noticed that too. Okay, I think the last thing we got is Next Gen NYC.
Yes. I'll start. There's one moment where they compared the mothers, Brooke Shields and Kim Zolciak, as if it was the same thing. And yes, production did do a side-by-side showing the two pictures, but this might be something your generation isn't aware of. Brooke Shields was a big deal. Like, at one point, probably considered the most beautiful woman in the world, or at least, hyped up that way. And there's a famous movie, she was very young. It was a little bit controversial, Blue Lagoon. But Brooke Shields is the shit, right? Kim Zolciak, not quite so much.
Well, I mean, we love Kim Zolciak
I'm not
too,
saying
but yes,
no, but
I'm
come
making
on.
yeah. I completely understand what you're saying. I know Brooke Shields is a big deal. I know she's a huge deal. She maybe is a little bit before my time, but I know who she is. I did think it was funny that Gia was trying to tell her boyfriend who that is and saying, Hannah Montana's mom. That was so funny because that makes sense to me. Like, that tracks to me. So
We were watching it. I don't know if we were paying it to your mother and I were watching it. And then she turned to me. She's like, wait, what'd she say? Did she say that's Hannah? She's not Hannah Montana's mother. I said, no.
Hannah Montana on Hannah Montana. Yes.
Oh,
Brooke Shields
okay.
absolutely was. She played Hannah's mother.
Oh gosh, I didn't know that
Who
she
didn't
fell
come
that
around
far.
a lot. Now,
Okay.
yeah, Hannah Montana's mother didn't. It was like a guest appearance a few times.
Oh, okay. I
But-
wasn't paying attention. I thought that Gia was just spaced out and like confusing her with somebody else. So she at least there's some basis for her to think that's
Yeah, because she was.
well,
She was Hannah Montana's mother.
right. The character, yes.
So,
the only
yeah,
other thing
that
I
was
had
funny.
was Riley, which is a little bit shocking to me, is coming across as a mean girl, and maybe it's just selective editing, or they caught her on a night where she had too much to drink. It happens to the best of us, but I didn't see that coming. At least I could see that coming between her and Georgia, but not her and Ava. That was a little bit surprising.
Yeah, I think we're going to see that play out more next episode because I think we saw an episode where Ava had an issue with Gia and they kind of made up pretty quickly, even though I don't think those two really like each other that much. I am reserving my judgment for that because I do love Riley. I love that she stays on George's neck about the hand washing thing. I love it. I love that that's still a conversation because what? And George is acting like, our generation doesn't really like to clean our hand. No, that's not true. That's just you. That is just you, Georgia.
When she said that, I don't think that she was necessarily speaking about washing hands, even though I know that's how this evolved. I think she was just saying more broadly, we don't like to clean, which is probably also not true.
Yeah.
I also thought that
Well,
her and whatever her buddy's name was talking about coming up with a line of cleaning products reminded me of She by Sheree. And what was the one from Rahoney where what's her face was going to make an oven?
Sonia.
Yes.
Sonia's toaster oven.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I think that this is completely fake, or I hope it's fake, because otherwise they're going to lose their shirts. Like that's just Yuck as the name. I mean, I could see it showing up on your Instagram feed, but the goal was to be selling by summer. I haven't seen anything on my feed, but maybe I just have the wrong algorithm.
No, yeah, I don't think it's going to work for her. But the one thing I do defend Georgia on is when Amira told her to like go into business with Charlie and her ex-boyfriend, I would have been like, "Excuse me? Why would you suggest that to me? That's the last thing I would ever want to do."
Fair, but I
didn't
think
like
that Georgia's saying, I've talked to my lawyer and we're talking about getting compensated for my creative idea. That's not a thing, right? That doesn't work. You can't claim, oh, you stole my idea unless it has some sort of intellectual property protection, which that idea doesn't. So she should either just do it on her own or come up with something. Maybe what Amira was saying was go into business of figuring a way to not necessarily work side by side, but figure out a way to go into business together so you at least get something, because she's not going to get paid by them otherwise.
Yeah, well, I'm excited for the rest of the season for that. More excited than I am for like the Valley and in the city.
Well, the Valley's almost over, where there's only one more
In the
episode.
city, I'm pretty sure in the city the finale is next week.
I think that's right.
Yeah, the Valley might have more episodes, but in the city is about to end.
That's what I was thinking of. I misspoke.
Okay, yeah. Well, I get those two mixed up all the time. So, like, I even wrote in my notes in the city, and I had to cross it out and write the Valley because, yeah. Well, I don't have any images for you to guess who the housewives are, so I think we're gonna probably start diving in a little bit deeper to some of these Bravo shows, especially with Love Island USA ending. We obviously have UK still, but we'll have a little bit more time for maybe a game or two and to dive a little deeper. So I'm looking forward to that.
Me too. Okay.
And as usual, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. And
send us ideas.
Yes, send us ideas, new shows.
And constructive feedback. If we're focusing too much on something or not enough on something, let us know.
Yeah, if you want Dad to talk more, if you want me to talk less.
Or Dad to talk less.
Yeah. Yeah, we're always open to talk and to feedback. Thanks for hanging out with us. We will see you next week.
Thanks.
That's our episode. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks for listening.
If you like the show, leave us a rating or a comment. It helps more than you'd think. Follow us wherever you're listening and on social media at Check Me Boomer.
And tell a friend who'd get it.
See you next week.